Hello folks, this is Sula once again. Welcome to another video for Teamfight Tactics. In this video we're going to be looking at kind of a silly team comp, but one that does actually work, and that is reroll Soraka. So it's a renewer team comp based on using Soraka as the primary carry, getting Soraka up to 3-star status, and then running with her as the main damage dealer in a Coven setup. All right, so here we are on the initial carousel. This is taken from a normal game, but a decent level of competition. There were a couple people in Diamond that ended up in this game. So I go ahead and grab the tier. It's still my preferred starting item just because there's a whole bunch of different team compositions that can play out of the tier. And if you're wondering what's going on here, I was trying to look at the Chaos Pengu Little Legend because this person had, I think, the 3-star version of it, and I don't know if I had seen that previously. So I was just curious to see what that would look like. All right, so what is the way that this team composition runs? You might say Soraka, she's a support unit. Soraka is not a carry unit. Like her ability silences people on the other team, i.e. it makes it so they need to require more mana in order to cast their abilities. But like that's not an ability that you use to deal damage. It's more of like a support utility ability. Well, as it turns out, in this particular patch, which caused it to be much easier to hit 3-star versions of 2-cost units, it turns out if you get Soraka to 3-star, make her the focus of a Coven team comp, and get the right items on her, she actually can carry reasonably well. And the secret to the team composition is running 4 renewers and getting her to 3-star and making her the Coven leader. And with the right itemization, she actually can be pretty strong. So you don't want to run this setup unless you kind of have the units for it. Right here at the start of the game, I was looking and I was like, oh, you know what? I've already hit 2-star Gragas. I'm getting some renewer units. This looks like it could be a scenario where I want to play the Soraka renewer reroll. It's a comp that is probably not going to go that well if you try to force it. We're doing our normal games on live stream just a little while ago as I'm recording this video, and I tried to force the team comp, and it didn't end up working. Did not end up working at all for me. But like I'm getting kind of all the pieces here. So I've already got a 2-star Gragas. I've already got a 2-star. Already got a 2-star Vlad, and then I hit 2 Sorakas just off the 2-1 carousel, and I was like, okay, this is definitely what I want. This means can almost certainly hit 2-star Soraka very early on. I've already got a bunch of renewers, and I've got Gragas to hold tank items until I can find Morgana, who will be the tank once I can find her because I need her for Coven. So like this is a dream setup to play this. The items maybe not quite perfect. Ideally, I'd want some gloves for critical strike chance because ideally you want Soraka to have items that she kind of wants to have a jeweled gauntlet for a spell crit and then an infinity edge. That's kind of her preferred items. But that's okay. We can work around the items to a certain extent. This setup right now is very strong. We're kind of annihilating this Hellions team composition without any real issues. Because again, I've got 2-star Gragas, I've got 2-star Vlad, and then Soraka already has a tier to help get her started, and she's just silencing all of the Hellions at once. All right, now as far as this army is going to go, again, my preferred item would be to get either a sword, so I could make Shojin on Soraka for mana generation, or some kind of critical strike item would be really nice. But instead, I get 2 vests, and one of them is the Shadow Vest. And by the way, we hit 2-star Raka right here on 2-2, which is ridiculous. So I'm going to go ahead, take the Shadow Vest, combine it with that cloak that I got, and I'm going to make Gargoyle Stoneplate from it, the Shadow version of Gargoyle Stoneplate, which regenerates health each second depending on how many enemy units are attacking the person wearing it. It's not a great late game item. It's a very, very good early game item. Every time I make this item and can put it on a strong tank in the early game, I always seem to be able to win streak off it. So Gragas can hold the item for right now. Between him being 2-star, him being an innately tanky unit, and him having the Dawnbringer heal that's going to kick in if he drops under half health, he's going to be very difficult for anyone to kill because the more units group up to try to kill him, the more healing he's going to get. So this looks like a really promising start. Like I've got Vlad who's going to heal and has renewer traits so that he's constantly getting extra health back. I've got Gragas, who's going to be almost impossible to kill, and then I've got a 2-star Soraka already, which is just insane. So as I said, this is a team comp that's playing through Renewer trait and playing through Coven trait. We haven't really found the pieces for Coven yet. I have a Lysandra, but that's it. But however, I'm having pretty good luck at finding everything else that I want. And in particular, having 3 Sorakas on 2-2 is just completely ridiculous. If you have 3 Sorakas on 2-2, you can definitely play this team composition. If you don't have Sorakas, so for instance, I went all the way to level 6 and found no Sorakas, and then rerolled 30 gold and still found no Sorakas. If you do that and try to play this team comp, it's not going to go very well for you. But if you're finding the early Sorakas, finding the early Vlads, finding the early Lissandras, this is a team comp that absolutely can work. You note I didn't even level early there because I was pretty confident I could win streak even without having early levels. This team comp's a little bit scary because what I'm running right now is heavily based on healing. The healing from Renewer, the healing from the Shadow Gargoyles. So that Sunfire Cape with the healing debuff is definitely a bit of worry. But my board having all these 2 stars this early on is just too strong and powers right through that comp anyway. But this is a comp that does not want to see people with healing debuffs. No Sunfire Capes, no Morellos, definitely no Shadow Morellos, which is a way to... If you want to know how to counter this comp, Shadow Morellos is the way to do it. Alrighty, so now we've got the second carousel here. I have last pick because I haven't lost yet. I would have liked the sword because that would have given me a chance to make Shojin on Soraka. I would also like that glove. That would also be really nice. So I'm going to try to get that here. And I believe that I actually... Well, did I end up taking... No, I ended up taking the belt. Huh. Oh, I understand why. It's because I wanted to make use of that bow, and bows are really not useful in this team composition. That's why I went ahead and did this, so that I could make the, so that I could actually get some use out of this bow and make a Zerat portal. Okay, I think in retrospect, maybe should have taken the glove, just because you do really want to get spell crit on Soraka if at all possible. I think that probably would have been better long term, but oh well. I guess I was thinking I wanted to make use of the bow, which you really have little use for in this team composition. I go ahead and toss in Warwick just to make Brawler. The reason for that is Lissandra's not really going to do a whole lot. I need her to make Coven long term. But right now, it just takes me from 2 Renewer to 3 Renewer. It doesn't really do anything. And similarly, the Kha'Zix doesn't really do anything at this point in time. He would just go from 2 Dawnbringer to 3 Dawnbringer. And a 1-star Kha'Zix not really going to do this much. What this fight's showing is the value of that Gargoyle Stoneplate. All the frontliners on this team hit the Gragas and just do nothing because he's got so much healing from the Gargoyle Stoneplate that they just can't get through to damage him at all. So we win that very easily. And here I'm going to get another Lissandra, and I hit another Vladimir. So I was like, okay, maybe we can hit Vlad 3-star in this game. We might as well pick them up. We're going to be re-rolling later on. And then I'm going to pre-level to level 5 so I can get a level 5 minion flop, or not minion flop, champion flop on the next round. It doesn't cut into my econ to do it. I wasn't going to be able to hit 30 gold regardless. So we'll just pre-level to level 5. And that gives us better odds of finding like Morgana. Also better odds of finding more Sorakas too. I'm really hoping that I can win this round because that will allow me to carry a win streak all the way through into the minion round. And I think I can do this even though I'm level 4 and this person's level 5, just because this person hasn't really committed much in the way of items yet. Once again, note that they're grouping up on Gragas. Gragas is healing like 180 every 2 seconds or whatever that does. You know, the more units group up on him, the more he heals. So like they just have absolutely no way to cut through the Gragas. This early in the game, there's just not enough damage to get through that. And so we're going to win this round. And we have the perfect stage 2. 5 rounds, 5 wins. Economy's looking really solid right now. And I actually get to play another unit. So I think I just throw in, I don't know. I think I just throw in Lysandra or something here. But hopefully we can do a little bit better. Econ's in good shape, as you'd imagine, for win streaking through those rounds. I get 5 extra gold for winning all 5 rounds, and then I also get the win streak bonus, and that's going to carry through the minion round. That's great. We want to get up to level 6, and then at level 6 we'll start re-rolling, because at level 6 you have the best odds to find 2-cost units. I honestly hope that the designers of Teamfight Tactics will revert that change that they made to the odds, because it's a little too easy to find 2-cost units right now. The odds are 40% right now, so I hope that they'll dial that back at some point, but we'll see what they end up doing. Anyway, here I get a tier. Again, that's not ideal. And then I get another bow. 1 tier is good, but 2 tiers is not that great, because 2 tiers makes blue buff, which is not as good on Soraka as as a Spear of Shojin, but it's playable. You do want 1 mana item on her, either blue buff or Spear of Shojin. One or the other is useful. So here I was like, is it better just to play 4 Dawnbringers here? I think it probably is better just to play the 4 Dawnbringers. So, you know, as usual, you want to be flexible based on what you're hitting and play around that. I have no intention of playing 4 Dawnbringers long term in this comp. but we'll see. That's what we've hit for this round, so we'll go ahead and play it and see what happens. I mentioned before the key trait that we're really playing through in this game is Renewer. That and Coven, but we don't have Coven in yet, as Soraka gets grabbed there, unfortunately. But the Renewer trait, if you're unfamiliar with what this trait does, at Renewer 2, your Renewer units heal for 2% of their max health per second. So, they're constantly healing like a small amount of health, unless they're at full health, in which case they generate 2% of their mana per second. And that might not sound like a lot, but since it ticks every second, it does add up to be pretty significant. All right, here I get the choice of yet another bow or a sword, and I'm going to take the sword there. And at that point, I was happy I held off on committing the tier because that allows me to make Spear of Shojin. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And then I've got the items for a Static Shiv, which isn't really a good item, but there's not a lot else I can do with this bow. So I'm thinking, you know what, let's just probably commit this item because I can make something useful. It is a magic resist shred, and there is some value in getting that in this team. So I think eventually I just commit these two and make the Static Shiv, if I remember this game correctly. So again, just to finish up the point on Renewer, Renewer 2, 2% of your max health generated each second on the Renewer units. Renewer 4, it goes up to 4%. 4% of max HP generated per second, unless they're at full hit points, in which case they generate 4% of their max mana each second. 4% each second is quite a lot. It means that if a unit's not being focused, they're going to regenerate pretty quickly. So it's a pretty strong trait. The big thing that weakens Renewer is most of the Renewer units are relatively low cost. You've got Lissandra, who's a 1-cost unit, Vlad, who's a 1-cost unit, Soraka, who's a 2-cost unit. So you wind up playing a lot of units that are kind of on the weaker ends, and then you have Ivern and Heimerdinger, which are 4-cost and 5-cost units. So like I said, kind of weaker units, but if you can 3-star the units, then suddenly the trait becomes pretty powerful. So that's what we're going to be looking to do here, is looking to 3-star some of those units. All right, here I have a chance to go to level 6, and I just toss in the Warwick. Again, Warwick not really planned to be in this comp long-term. Nidalee, Kha'Zix not intended to be in this comp long-term, but I haven't turned up the Lissandra yet, so I'm not going to play, or excuse me, the Morgana yet, so I'm not going to play LeBlanc until I can find the Morgana, and then I'll get Coven trait in play, and we'll use Coven trait to buff up our Soraka and hopefully find some more damage items for her. With Spear of Shojin, she's going to cast a lot, but then we need to increase her damage. The classic items that you want if you're playing this Coven reroll Soraka build would be Infinity Edge plus the Jeweled Gauntlet. That will give you spell crit, and that will also then cause the crits to do way more damage. This is that comp that has the Sunfire on the front line, which is a little bit scary, but looks like we're still up to the task. Although I am expecting to lose relatively soon because I haven't managed to get Coven in play yet, and I haven't managed to get any damage items on Soraka. So, like I said, you kind of want to get Jeweled Gauntlet for spell crit, Infinity Edge, and then a mana generating item, which ideally is Spear of Shojin. But, well, that we were actually able to make it here. As I said, it's not too bad to have blue buff. It's just not quite as good. All right, so I have last pick on the carousel. No surprise. You get last pick usually when you are when you have win streaked all through the game, but that's okay. As I said, I should be able to make something decent. The good news is, I was going to say the good news is there is that cloak, or that rod there, but no, that gets grabbed, so I'm forced to take another defensive item. But I go ahead and take the shadow version of the chain vest because that's half of a guardian angel, and I want guardian angel for Morgana later on. And then here, I'm going to start hitting. I managed to hit the Morgana. I also hit another Vlad. So now we need to start transitioning here. For some reason, I put in the Vlad, but like we want to put Morgana in, and then we want to put LeBlanc in, and then we want to put the Lissandra in so that we can get Coven into this trait. So I'm looking to make these replacements here, and now I need to get the Lissandra in, and now I need to make Soraka the Coven unit, and there we go. Positioning's a little wonky, but I did manage to put that together there. So now we can sell the Warwick. We're not going to need Warwick anymore. And like I said, now we have Coven trait in, and I'm going to have to figure out who to put this Static Shiv on, because there's no one who's really a great user of it in this particular team comp. Anyway, we've got Coven. I featured Coven in the previous video that I did with Katarina, but if you haven't seen this trait before, Coven, there's 3 Coven units in the game. It's Morgana and Lissandra and LeBlanc. Those are the 3. You can't get Coven any other way unless you get a Coven Spatula, which is very rare. So these 3 units, they will designate one other unit as the Coven leader. And by the way, I have 81 gold there, so what the heck. It's pretty funny. Now I'm re-rolling. The unit that stands in the middle of them will become the Coven leader. And the Coven leader will get 60% extra spell power. So they get extra ability power. And in addition to that, they also get a little bit of the mana when all of the other units cast, when all the other Coven units cast. There we go. Now I'm finally able to get Soraka in a slightly better position. I actually wasn't even able to reroll all my gold in that round, which is kind of funny. So go ahead and put that on Morgana. I'm hoping I can get a sword to make that Guardian Angel off that, because it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to make Infinity Edge plus spell crit on the Soraka. So I'll try and see what I can get on the Soraka, but getting a Guardian Angel on Morgana is actually really important. Anyway, we're up against an Abomination set up here, and I'm worried about the Abomination because I'm not sure I have enough damage to actually kill this thing. It's rolled really good items, and Abomination is kind of a little bit overpowered right now as far as traits go. One of the sad things is that Victor is on no health, and the Victor kept shielding the rest of the team. So the win streak finally comes to an end, which is sad, but oh well. Like I said, that Abomination was pretty strong. So I'll go ahead and put the Static Shiv on LeBlanc. I do think maybe I could have won that round if I'd had the Static Shiv in there, which is a bit disappointing. Also, maybe if I'd been able to roll a bit faster. I highlight the Karma. I actually do want Karma in this comp eventually, but I don't want to hold her for, like, I'm not going to play her until for a while. She probably doesn't get played until level 7 or level 8. And that's a long way away, so we're probably not going to bother with that for right now. Anyway, I'm waiting for Morgana to get 2-starred. And here I actually do get a sword, which is really nice. And I get a ton of gold. So again, I have so much gold to reroll with. It's honestly a little crazy. So I was figuring, all right, well, now that I've got that, if I can just hit the Morgana 2-star, I'll sell the Gragas and then just move those tank items over to Morgana. And there's a Soraka. So after getting the 3 early Sorakas, we kind of didn't hit any Sorakas for a while, but now we're up to 5 of them, and we have 8 Vladimirs. So I'm hoping I can hit that one last Vlad here. And there we go. So after not hitting, so we hit 3 initial Sorakas, then didn't hit any Sorakas for a while, then hit 3 more. Randomness is a lot. Randomness is always fun in this game, right? So I roll down to 50, and I'm going to continue slow rolling. I also will put, the reason why I'm holding on to Kha'Zix is I'll put Kha'Zix back in when I drop Gragas, because he'll have Assassin trait in play for the LeBlanc. Assassin trait not really too critical to this setup, but whatever. We want one Dawnbringer in the comp because we want to have that Dawnbringer trait on Soraka. And like once again, this team that we hit here and we win pretty overwhelmingly is just someone who couldn't get through the Gragas, just could not get through that Gragas unit, just tanked forever. All right, so now I have a chance to pick up more items, and I see there's a rod there, so I'll definitely pick up the rod to try to get more ability power on Soraka. So there we go, and we hit the 3-star Vlad. So 3-star Vlad can actually tank at a relatively decent rate. So he can also provide some front line as well. And again, I'm just hoping I can hit the Morgana soon. Then I can get rid of the Gragas and transfer those items to Morg. Morgana, ideally you'd like a Morelos on her, but with Shadow Guardian Angel, she'll definitely be able to get her ult off in every fight, and that's the main thing. Also, Vlad, I really would like to get up on the front lines, but I don't want Vlad to be the Coven leader. See, I'm trying to make sure that Soraka's the Coven leader. It's always a little bit weird trying to position to get the Coven leader on the unit that you actually want it on. It's the one thing I don't like about this trait is you really are limited in where you can position for the Coven leader. By the way, Gragas just tanking, tanking, tanking. Look at all that healing on Gragas. He's tanked the enemy team's front line for like half the fight, and then he puts down the construct from the Zerat portal, and then that tanks for even longer. Also, look at Vlad. Between his healing and him having Renewer in, like he can tank for kind of forever as well. So we just got a really tanky front line. And oh, Lissandra! Yay, Lissandra! Manages to win that fight. That was a Riven team comp over there. Maybe if that person had committed some of their items, they would have won that fight instead of losing it by, the slimmest of margins. They had like 5 items on the bench. Okay, so we're rerolling. Just need 2 more Sorakas right now. Come on, give me those Sorakas. We're going to now get up to 6 LeBlancs. So getting closer there. We might as well pick up the LeBlancs, right? Try to 3-star the LeBlanc as well. Then I hit 2-star Morg, and now's the time to switch over. So Morg will take over as the primary frontliner. If I can get Coven trait to go on the Soraka, I'm like, what's going on? Why isn't Soraka becoming the Coven leader? No, I want Soraka as the Coven leader, and we're stuck with Morgana. I still have no idea why I couldn't get that to go on Soraka that round. So, oops, Morgana's the Coven leader. Okay, well, she gets extra ability power, but that's not really what we want. We kind of want Soraka to be the Coven leader right now. In comes this Abomination, and not really feeling this round with my messed up, not the right person as the Coven leader. So we take a loss there, and that's kind of frustrating, because that is not what I wanted to have happen at all. It doesn't even give me increased carousel priority because I have so much health. So, oh well. This comp is falling off a little bit because I haven't hit the 3-star Soraka yet. That's when my next power spike comes in, is when Soraka actually gets 3-starred. So I'd want the glove here, but it's on a Teemo, and like, come on, someone's going to take that. Teemo's very, very high demand right now, so someone's definitely going to take that. And my dream of getting more ability power on Soraka not looking so great. I'm just hoping I can grab this Lee Sin and take this for a death cap. And I actually do manage to get that. I was like, oh, okay. Well, we'll go ahead and make the death cap, and then maybe we can get a third item off a future carousel, because after the end of stage 4, you don't get components, you only get finished items. So the most important thing we need to do is make sure that we can get Soraka to be, and there it is. Apparently, Lysandra needed to be one tile further down, like apparently one tile further to the bottom, and we would have gotten this. So yeah, I actually would like to position Soraka more to the right-hand side, because there are we're going to pick up the Ivern because we're going to want to play Ivern at level 7 for 4 Renewer. I'd like to play Soraka more on the right-hand side because Abomination is super popular right now, and Abomination always charges to the left side of your board. By the way, Morgana here, once again, just going to suck up all these enemy units, get off a great ultimate. It's going to hit, half the enemy team. And then she'll come back to life again at 70% health because she's got the Shadow Guardian Angel. And then she'll put a Construct Minion down. Still looks like it's not going to be enough in this round because this person's hit 3-star Set and 3-star Udyr. But, you can see the potential is there. We just need to get more damage on the Soraka. We need to get her up to 3-star, and then we can probably deal with this comp. But for the moment, that Draconic setup with the 3-star version of the set has proven to be too strong. So now I'll pick up the Karma because I'm not that far away from getting to the next level. And there's another LeBlanc. So we now have a 7 LeBlancs. I'm like, come on, one more Soraka. One more Soraka. I've had reasonably decent luck at finding the Sorakas, but I need to get the Soraka by the end of stage 4. If I don't hit by the beginning of stage 5, I just have to roll until I hit it because otherwise I'll be too weak to deal with these other boards. But with me having 8 of them, I should be able to hit this, hopefully. So in a matchup like this is the other person who's win streaking. They're running Abomination plus the Vel'Koz. What I want to have happen is I want Soraka to just pop the backline Vel'Koz. You saw she did like 80% of Vel'Koz's health, but Vel'Koz survived. If she had been 3-star, the Vel'Koz would have been one shot, and we would have probably won this round. But we weren't, because she's only 2-star, we're not able to finish off Vel'Koz. Like I said, Vel'Koz survives with like 20% health, and it's a loss instead of a potential win. But that person's already level 8. We're only level 6. And there we go. That's what we needed. So we do manage to hit the 3-star Raka. And now I'm going to look to go back and start leveling again. We're going to have a change up in terms of the unit composition here at level 7. I'll put in Ivern to get in Renewer 4. And then because I have Ivern in, he's an Invoker unit. I want to put Karma in for another Invoker. I can take out the Kha'Zix, and that'll also preserve Dawnbringer on Soraka. Now I'm just hoping I'll find something here that I can put on Soraka. Like, I've got the Giant's Belt on my bench, and I was like, oh, Rod plus Belt. I can make Morello's. It's not ideal on Soraka, but it's something. It will make her stronger. So I'll just go ahead and make that. Here I was like, oh, I'm at 8 LeBlancs. Let's roll and see if we can hit LeBlanc. But then I roll 10 gold and I don't hit it. And I was like, I need to get to level 7. So basically I rolled enough to try to find LeBlanc 3-star. Didn't find it. And then I just decided I want to go up to level 7. I still have odds to find the LeBlanc. I only need one more after all. But the odds to find the 2-cost units do go down over time because they were... at level 6, the odds for 2-cost units were 40%, and now they've gone down to 30%. So they're definitely lower, but I really need that extra unit in. I want to have 4 Renewer. I don't want to be facing these boards with only 3 Renewer in. I want 4 for the faster health regen, and when Soraka's at full health, faster mana. All right, so now she's a 3-star unit, and she's actually doing a lot of damage. It's not quite the effect you can get if you have Infinity Edge plus Jeweled Gauntlet, which means when she crits, she just kind of instantly kills the back line. But she's actually generating a lot of mana. With the Spear of Shojin plus the Coven plus Renewer, when she's at full health, she fills up her mana bar very quickly. And so she casts like every 3 seconds or so, and she's just kind of pounding out the damage. A little bit like, it's honestly pretty similar to Karma as a champion when you run a Karma comp with blue buff and Karma just kind of puts out that damage. But the difference is Soraka doesn't need as much ramp up time. She just kind of has that damage right from the start of the fight. She doesn't need to have her mana her max mana go down from repeatedly casting. So there is some RNG in terms of where Soraka casts. She officially casts on the person who has the highest mana on the enemy team. Let me make sure I'm getting this correctly. She casts on the enemy who has the highest current percent mana. So whoever has the highest current percentage of mana. But in practical terms, that's just kind of totally random who she's going to cast at. And like in this particular fight, she deleted the backline really nicely, enough for us to get on the for what was left over to kill the Vel'Koz. This person looks like they're doing some kind of reroll build because they're level 6 and have no gold. And I suspect that person is not long for this world, given that they're only level 6 and have 0 gold remaining. So, like I said, it's largely random, but she does target whoever's the highest current percent mana. She deals damage in an area, and the big reason why you want Soraka to hit 3-star is the damage just goes up from so much. The base damage of her ability is 250 at 2-star, but it goes to 400 at 3-star. So it doesn't quite double, but it goes up by about 60, 70%, going from 250 to 400. The other thing that happens is at 3-star, the mana cost increase goes up too. At 1-star and 2-star, Soraka increases the cost of the enemy's next ability by 35%, but at 3-star, it goes up by 50%. So you can imagine if she's popping the backline of the enemy teams and doing huge damage and increasing the cost of their next ability by 50%, I mean, that's a pretty big deal. Like in this fight, she manages to hit the Draven pretty quickly, and then LeBlanc jumps in and gets the kill on the Draven. Granted, that Draven just had... I think he had a Thief's Glove, so he wasn't like super itemized, but still, I mean, together they kill the backline, and that's really all that we need. And then Morgana tanks for long enough that the rest of the comp can carry it. And Soraka did 11,000 damage in that fight, so I mean, her damage output's pretty good, and this isn't even like best in slot itemization. It's just good itemization, not best in slot, so. Okay. Now we've got another carousel. We're down to 6 players. I'm feeling pretty good about the game right now. I'm trying to see what I would want to put in here. I'm not sure that there's that many items I would want. The Spear of Shojin would have been nice on somebody, but there's not a whole lot I want here, so I'm just going to take the Guardian Angel out of these items. It didn't really see much in terms of other stuff that I wanted. And I can put the Guardian Angel on the LeBlanc because she's always diving into the back line to the enemy teams. I'm probably going to be able to 3-star her because I have 8 LeBlancs, and I figure, you know what, getting a Guardian Angel on her would be pretty nice. So then I decide, you know what, I'm really close to leveling up here. Let's just go ahead and grab a Rise to potentially toss into this comp. And there we go. Of course, I don't want Rise to be the Coven leader. There we go. And then I decide Lulu would actually be better because Lulu provides more protection. She was nerfed in this most recent patch, the B patch. But I still think Lulu is a better fit for this comp than Rise. Rise would provide more damage and more crowd control, but I don't know that I necessarily need that per se. I think that I want Lulu buffing the attack speed of nearby units and polymorphing more so than I want Rise in this fight. I think anyway. All right, so in this fight, once again, we have another Abomination. And again, you see why I would prefer to have Soraka further over to the right, but I just can't seem to get the Coven to go on her unless she's in the middle of the field. Fortunately, the 3-star Vlad and then the little old Karma, 1-star Karma with no items, are enough in order to get that. Lysandra also debuffing the attack damage of that Abomination were also pretty nice. There's a battle going on for 6th place, or 5th place right now. Focus on Improving and a Cup of Joe are apparently hitting each other, and one of them is going to be knocked out here. This is a very long round. I should probably take a look at what's happening, and looks like... Oh, no, it looks like they both got knocked out. Was that a double knockout for them both to get eliminated? Looks like that was a double knockout. They both got eliminated in 5th and 6th place. Oh, well. I wish I'd been watching that. That was kind of amusing. Okay, now we're down to 4 players. I'm on a nice winning streak here. I'm hoping I can keep this going. I'm looking at what other comps I'm having to contend with, and the main comp I'm having to contend with is the person who has 62 health, son of Fruticose, and that comp is mostly magic damage. It's an Abomination plus Spellweaver Vel'Koz team setup. So I was like, you know, I think I want to get, I think I want to go to 9 and play another Mystic unit. It's this comp, by the way. This comp's also going to 9. I can see that they're going to head there. Now, notice the difference between the last time we hit this comp and this time when we hit it. This time, the Soraka does enough damage to get the Vel'Koz down to like 10% health, and then LeBlanc goes in and finishes off that unit. So the Vel'Koz never casts, and we're able to win this round pretty easily. I was trying to have LeBlanc positioned so that LeBlanc would jump onto that Vel'Koz. So I'm thinking that comp deals a lot of magic damage. Let's just go to 9, and then we'll play another Mystic unit for 3 Mystic, and that should make my comp tanky enough that it's going to be very hard for that comp to kill it. like give Morgana an extra 100 magic resist, give Vlad an extra 100 magic resist. I was looking at that comp and I was like, yeah, another Mystic unit would be nice. Probably if I can get to 9, and then I'd like to find Kindred because Kindred will also give me the death protection and provide a little bit of extra damage as well. So that's what I was thinking there. I also get a thoroughly useless, thoroughly useless. What is this? Last Whisper, which is not going to do anything for me. So I was like, all right, I have absolutely no use for this item whatsoever. So I'm just going to put it on someone who's likely to survive for a long time, so that they can cut the armor of those units. Again, my comp is all magic damage, so that really does nothing. I was like, all right, Vlad, sure, you take this. Why not? Vlad, you've been alive at the tail end of every fight, so I guess you'll just get more value out of this item. There is another team comp that is still alive in here, and that person's running physical damage. They've got it's this comp here. It's the one with Draven and with Mordekaiser. Draven actually rolled relatively good items on his Thief's Club this time. He rolled a Giant Slayer, which is pretty good against what I have, but fortunately LeBlanc's in the back lines, and that'll take care of that. And the other big unit we have to worry about is the Riven. This person's playing Riven reroll, it looks like. They only have a 3-star Riven, though, fortunately. If that was a 4-star Riven, we'd be in a lot of trouble. But it's not, and they only have 6 Riven, so they're probably not going to hit that in this game. I go ahead and hit 2-star Lulu. That's pretty good. Lulu definitely gets a lot stronger at 2-star. She was nerfed in this B patch, but the nerfs were not as bad at 2-star. They were a little bit more severe at 1-star. So again, I'm just looking to econ up here. I see that there's a Zephyr on this other person's board, so I am a little bit concerned about that. I want to make sure that I am not having Soraka target. If this person were really paying attention, they would position the Zephyr to hit Soraka. I'm kind of watching to make sure that doesn't happen. They do reposition the Vel'Koz at the last second. This is a ghost round, by the way. But I'm still up against this comp. But the Zephyr hits Lysandra, which is like, whatever. That's probably the single least important unit in my team composition. The bad news is LeBlanc is over on the left-hand side, so she's not hitting the Vel'Koz, so that's not quite what we want. The good news is the Vel'Koz is wasting its time aiming at the minion that came out of the Zerat portal, and so eventually we're able to get on the Vel'Koz and kill it. And then we're down to, all right, so we're still down to just the last 3 players here. So again, I'm just looking to level, and I was like, I could go to 8, or excuse me, I could go to 9 right here, but I was like, all right, let's just wait until after the carousel. After the carousel, I'll go 9. I'm gonna have a lot of gold to roll. I'll probably have 40 gold to roll. I should be able to find Kindred with that, and then we'll play 3 Mystic. Alternately, maybe we'll see what else. I also could find, if I find Volibear, I'll also play Volibear. Right here, I was looking if I had to dodge a Zephyr. So you see right there, I'm going to move because I want to make sure I'm dodging a Zephyr. But once again, the Zephyr is not pointed at Soraka. It's pointed at LeBlanc for some reason. I was like, okay, you want to focus the LeBlanc? I mean, I do have some items on the LeBlanc, but the Soraka is the dangerous unit. Now here, the Abomination is going to hit Soraka, but watch what happens. Morgana is going to get her ult off, and then she dies, and then the minion on the Zerat portal taunts the Abomination, so it stops hitting Soraka. I was like, oh, cool. Way to go, Zerat portal. When that minion pull comes out, it is a taunt, and we actually knocked that person down to 1 HP. So I was like, all right, well, I just need to win one more round. I am going to go to level 9. I've got a lot of gold to roll with at level 9, but then this person apparently decides I'm out of this game and just quits the game. I mean, okay, I had won like 8 rounds in a row with Soraka, and that person had lost to me repeatedly, but oh well. I would have liked to have gotten one more round there. So I guess we're not going to get to see that. But in any case, a fun little game here. I wanted to put this up on YouTube. I've tried playing this. It actually is viable. You just need to have the right pieces. Don't try to force it if you don't have a Soraka. But if you're getting a lot of renewer units and you find some early Sorakas, this actually is viable. Well, anyway, until next time, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed this. Until next time, see you guys soon.